Welcome, everybody, to the You Are Worthy Network. I'm your host, Steve Wormer. Excited to be with you this Tuesday. And just in case you're watching this for one of the first times, you might be saying, what is this You Are Worthy Network? Somebody invited me. The name was interesting to me. I was intrigued. There's something about it that just in the name maybe resonated with me. Tell me more. Well, I'll try to keep that answer short, although I'm a preacher, so you have to forgive me because, my short is subjective. But the You Are Worthy Network, in short, is an answer to my own personal unhealthy mindset. Now, I'm not saying it's unhealthy all the time. I'm not saying it's unhealthy most of the time, although that's a whole nother conversation. As I did mindset work the last couple of years, I kept hearing this word unworthy. And I said, that's a lie. It's not true. Why have I been drinking the Kool-Aid? And I said, you know what? I'm going to have victories here. And even more importantly, here. And when I started to have consistent victories, by the way, nobody's perfect at mindset. That's why we don't do it alone. I said, I got to give back. There's millions of people struggling with imposter syndrome and limited thinking and lack of self worth, right? And so I created this simply to bring you a little bit of hope, a little bit of encouragement along the way, because it's a dark world out there. So that's what the You Are Worthy Network is. And I bring on amazing people like Cari that you're going to meet here in a second. And we talk about, you know what, a little bit about their background. We talk about what they're doing, who they're serving, why they love it so much. But you know what? We also get vulnerable. We also get real about what they've overcome because life is not just a highlight reel, right? We're all going through something, have been through something. And even if you're in a great spot, praise God, you're going to go through something again, right? So that's not so short an answer to what the You Are Worthy Network is. Okay, I get it. I'll introduce Cari now because that's what you really want to know about. Cari Bordley is called to serve the high capacity leader, the entrepreneur, the C suite executive, and founder that everyone depends on and no one thinks to check on. As a kingdom consultant, strategist, and business architect, Cari equips these leaders and their organizations to rise from burnout into alignment and from vision into lasting results. She holds the space they need to transform and delivers customized breakthrough strategies that serve as the blueprint to catapult them forward, addressing identity, calling, mindset, strategy, design, and execution. Founder of the Brilliant Reset and creator of the R.I.S.E method, she is the visionary behind Brilliantly Unstoppable, equipping a generation to operate in their God given brilliance and leave legacy impact. Oh my goodness. When I read that line that everyone depends on and no one thinks to check on, we could talk the whole show right there, but I digress. Cari, welcome to the You Are Worthy Network.
Hi, Steve. Thank you so much for having me. And yes, totally understand that one.
I was feeling some of that yesterday. I was trying to delegate some things and I couldn't even get it off my plate. It like kept landing back on my plate. I was like, at some point, you're like, okay, I'm going to do it myself if it's going to get done. But yeah, that's a whole nother conversation. Yes, I'm thrilled to have you on. One of the benefits I always say about having a group that God has blessed just exceedingly more than I could ask or imagine. We've grown to over 17,000 people in 11 months. Is I could have people at some point watching your interview from different parts of the world.
Right.
So I never want to assume people know lives or they're from one place or another. Tell us specifically what corner of the world do you call home?
I call St. Augustine, Florida home.
And tell folks what that's close to in case they're like St. Augustine. Maybe they
Yeah.
don't know their U.S. history.
Well, and I was just going to say we're actually the oldest his or the oldest city in the nation, and we are near Jacksonville, Florida, about depending on which part of St. Augustine, about 30 to 45 minutes from whichever part of Jacksonville, which is the largest geographic city in the United States, and about 2 hours north of Orlando, Florida.
See, did y'all catch that? Carrie throwing in the trivia in her answers. I bet y'all didn't know that Jacksonville is the largest city in the United States landmass wise. It's crazy, right?
Right.
Crazy. So tell us in St. Augustine, who do you do life with?
Oh gosh. I mean, I have a number of different leaders and ministries and stuff like that that I'm connected to. But of course, I've got my husband, I've got my kids, and some of my closest friends that I've been blessed with here. I don't have all of my closest friends here, but I am grateful for the ones that I do. So,
Ch- Tell us about the family a little bit. How long married? How many kids?
oh, okay, yeah. So okay, so my husband and I are our second marriages. So we have been married for 4 years. So we're still in that newlywed category. And I have two children that came out of my body. And then I have three bonus children that are all adults in different places. One is in Orlando, one is in Tampa, and the other one is here with us. So, and then my kids are here and going when I have one going into high school and one going into his senior year of high school. So, yeah, five
Oh,
kids.
it goes fast, doesn't it?
So fast. So fast. I can't believe he's going into his senior year. It's been a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot, and we'll come back to that senior year thing in a second. But
Uh,
so I love it that they're all so close. I mean,
yeah.
How far is Tampa from St. Augustine?
It's about 3-ish hours.
Yeah, so I mean, between Orlando and Tampa, they're only what 2 3 hours away, both of them.
Yeah, and only about an hour, hour and a half from each other, the
Yeah,
Orlando and Tampa one. So, yeah.
yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
So when you guys get all together, what do you guys like to do for fun?
Oh gosh. Well, we all like to eat, and Dad's a great cook, so he loves to grill. So we have some good food, and we usually will play games together. We have just family fun games, whether it's a card game or some game we find on like Apple TV or something, you know. Just depends what it is on which time. But those are the main things that we do, and we all love movies, so we do watch movies sometimes as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, before we go back in time, because those watch a lot of the interviews, they know I'm about to do this with you, but I'm about to throw you guys a curveball in that I'm about to do rapid fire questions with Carrie.
Okay.
Carrie, don't overthink it. First thing that comes to mind, try your best not to say both or neither. But if that's the honest answer, that's the honest answer.
Okay.
So, small town or big city?
Oh, small town, definitely. It would be better if you said big city or mountains and rural, because that one I would have gone with rural.
We might get similar to that, but we'll see. Read the book or watch the movie.
Oh, yeah, read the book, hands down. Always, always better. Even though I appreciate the movie though, on some of them. They're
Yeah.
actually pretty good.
Books or podcast?
Oh, that one's hard. I actually, honestly, the answer to that is both.
We'll let you
Because
go.
as I've gotten busier, podcasts have been really amazingly helpful. I love podcasts.
Yeah, we do too.
Yeah, but you can see I love the books too, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Early bird or night owl?
Oh, naturally night owl, but I do love that early morning time with the Lord. So,
Okay. Okay. Camping or hotel?
ooh, that's hard. It depends on my mood. Am I allowed to answer that? Um,
Okay.
I love camping, but this point in my life, I probably choose the hotel more, even though I want to go hiking, or something nearby.
Well, you can go hiking and then go to the hotel, right?
Right?
Ocean or mountains?
Oh, that's the hardest one. I can't choose that one because I love them both equally. I was born and raised in California. I was born about a mile from the beach, and then I grew up in the mountains. So I literally can't answer that. That I love them both so much.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee in the morning, tea at night.
Okay, okay. Dogs or cats?
I have a dog, but I've had cats. I probably would say dog only. I love animals, but only because of the fact that dogs are a little easier. It's the kitty litter part with the cat that
Yeah, right. I get it. Drive or fly?
I love driving. I think if I had to pick, it would be driving. Um, but these days I have to fly a lot for time's sake, you know.
Yeah, no, I get it. That was cool. That
Yeah,
wasn't
but I
so bad,
love
was
me
it?
a I love me a long car ride. Yeah,
I will drive almost every time I can, although I do have something next month that's 12 hours and I need to be somewhat fresh when I get there. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna bite the bullet and fly that one.
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly the logic I have. I'm like, can I make it in a day? I'd rather stay in that vicinity, you know, but going home to Cali, yeah, I'm gonna fly.
yeah, yeah. Well, I'm gonna take you back now, and I'm gonna do it a little different for time's sake now.
Okay.
Um, when you were a little girl, did you have any clue? Let's say 10, 11, 12 years old. Did you
Okay.
have any idea what you wanted to do when you grew up?
10 and 11. I probably didn't really know. I love to draw and write and stuff, but I don't think I knew by then. And I loved helping people, but yeah, no, not then. I don't think. You'd have to
Okay.
ask my mom though to be
That's a long time ago, wasn't
it's a bit.
it? So tell us about what you did after high school. Did you work? Did you go straight into school? Was it community college? Tell us what you did and what the goal was then.
Ooh, that's a good story. So I was dating my high school sweetheart and he went far off to college. And I didn't make it in because I had test anxiety and didn't do well on my SATs, even though I was a pretty awesome scholar athlete kind of person. And so I ended up going to community college. I played volleyball. It was a blast. I am so thankful for those memories and time. And I was already leaning towards psychology at that time. So you're just taking like your undergrad classes. And then I ended up going to Auburn University in Auburn, Alabama. And that's where I have my bachelor's of arts. I don't like saying that because it's a psych degree that had neuroscience and behavioral genetics, but they didn't give a science-based version of that degree yet. So there you go.
Okay.
That's the short nutshell.
Okay, let me make sure I got this right. So you graduated high school in California, right?
Correct. Went to a college prep school. Yeah.
And you found Auburn on the plains of southern Alabama. How did that happen?
I had a boyfriend that went far away to school. His mom was raised in Selma, Alabama. So when I
Yes.
visited Auburn, it was so beautiful and I fell in love with it. And I was like, I want to go here. So I kept pursuing it till I made it.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
The
we
boyfriend
now
didn't
have
make
the boyfriend didn't cut it.
it
No,
didn't work out, but I did get my degree from Auburn.
there you go. So you
And I
do
met my best friend there. So
do you make the chant War Eagle?
not as often these days, but yes, I have been known to do that.
What's the famous place they go to after the game? Tumor's Corner.
Tumor's Corner. Yeah, I remember it before somebody poisoned the trees. Some fond memories on Tumor's Corner where we would TP the trees. And then apparently some Bama fan is what I heard, poisoned the trees or something, and it hurt those trees. So that corner probably looks very different. I haven't seen it in a while.
Mm, 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 mm.
Yeah, the
Oh
rivalries
goodness,
of the South and the SEC.
they are brutal for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so you got the degree.
Mhm.
Now you're out in the real world. What are you doing with that degree?
Then or now?
Then,
Oh, that's important to talk about, right? So
yeah.
I went from psych to nursing to psych, which was hilarious. So I ended up with a degree in psych. And of course, what do you do as a college student back then? They weren't teaching you how to get a job. So you're like, oh, I got to get a job because I was a kid that put myself through school. So I was working in the healthcare business, right? In the health club, I should say, business, and a Corey Everson's Fitness for Women. And so I got a job. I went to a gym all the time in Auburn. And so the manager of that gym had a gym down here. And so that's how I got to Jacksonville. My sister was down here and then left right before. We did not communicate well, did we? Because it all happened really fast on my end. So that's where I started out of college, but quickly went to telecommunications actually within a year.
Okay. All right. So we wait a minute. You said nursing in there somewhere, right?
Yeah. So I wanted to be a nurse for a while. And there's actually a tie-in to that is why I mentioned it because I wanted to be a nurse midwife who delivers babies. So I'll connect the dots as you want me.
Okay. Okay. I know somebody that actually did that. That's cool.
Yeah, I love me some babies. It's amazing.
So where did you eventually find your rhythm, your sweet spot, or a sweet spot for the time anyway?
Well, I was working at then New South Communications, which doesn't exist, I don't think anymore. And I was just trying to explore the working world, right? I loved technology and I was learning all about telecom, but it wasn't really then that I would say my finding my rhythm didn't happen till my awakening and after, which was 14 years ago.
Can't leave us hanging. Tell us more about the awakening.
Okay. So I went from telecom to starting a business with my then husband. Well, we weren't technically married yet. So we were business partners first. And then we ended up and we were dating. And so we started it from the ground up. That company is still going strong. And I believe at this point, I think it's over a $40 million company. So we
Oh,
were founders in the space of telecom expense management before everybody knew what that was. And so that's where a lot of my first entrepreneurial kind of toes in the water, were and learning how to finance something and all the joys of being a kid that had paid for college, right? So it's not like I'm rolling in the dough or anything. And same with my, soon to be husband and business partner. It's not like we could do this the easier way. So went from there. And then we got married and I had my first child and experienced postpartum depression. Um, and
mm,
I started realizing there was something going on with me. At that point, I wasn't as aware, but I was on a journey that I believe was like a tractor beam that the Lord was pulling me to a point in my life that would change my life. And that was what I call my awakening. And it was my marriage was pretty not great. And we went to counseling after yet another betrayal and trust issue and all kinds of stuff. And when we were there was a situation that came up where a counselor who usually doesn't do this said, something to my husband that I'm going to try to protect his privacy, but at the time, my husband then, not my husband now. Um, and yeah, I got a prayer point, and that prayer point was about your heart of stone becoming a heart of flesh. And that led to an encounter with God where God said, "Can we start with you?"
mm.
Oh, do you want me to keep going?
Oh, carry on. You're on
And
a roll.
I am on a very deep diving roll. So this answers your other question, by the way, that you're going to ask
Yeah.
me down the road, right?
No need to ask it now.
No need to ask it. I very much felt unworthy. I was never one of those people that thought I did everything right. That encounter with God, um, saved my life. I really believe that. And it chokes me up when I think about it. So I'm going to try to just talk through it, okay? But he basically said, "Can we start with you?" And I said, but he, like we do. And he said, "We know. Can we start with you?" And I said, "But, you know, I haven't sinned against him. Why do I have to go first?" So
Mm,
adult-like, and so deceived, right? But I didn't know. And so the Lord took me into an encounter where he basically, it's hard to explain this vision that opened up before me because it was like high definition scenes from my life that were from Father God's perspective. So there's no chance for us to change that perspective. It is the truth, is the best way I can describe it. And it was me sinning against my husband and him sinning against me. It was both. And I said, "Oh my gosh." And I remember in my mind, I felt like I should want to jump off a bridge right now for how horrible I am, right? For how unworthy I am, for how
mm,
not good enough I am. And yet I felt loved. And it was like so unreconcilable that it drove me to tears and surrender. And I said, "Lord, I didn't know. I'm so sorry." And he said, "We knew." He knew I was self-deceived. He knew I didn't know. And he loved me anyways, and he cared enough to come.
yeah,
And that's pretty amazing stuff right there. So
yeah.
that ended up leading him to ask me again. He asked me 3 times in this encounter, "Can we start with you?" And I said, of course, the very mature thing, "But it hurts so much. Why do I have to go first?" And then he said the thing that changes everything. And he said, "Because you're willing." I said, "Okay." And that awakening, that was the bottom of my pit that they talk about in Psalm 40, in the mire and the
Mhm,
muck. And
mhm.
he really did pull me out of that pit and put me on solid ground and help birth and reacquaint me with who I really was, my true identity. And that'll blow some mindsets out of the water that aren't supposed to be there. I ended up understanding I had a gift in inner healing. So the psych degree wasn't too far off. And so I went through a lot of it myself, of course, like you do. And then he gave me my calling. I grew up a little Catholic girl. So when we were little, the nuns told us to pray, "Lord, Lord, what am I made to do?" And all I knew to that day was mother. So I knew I was going to be a mother. But after that, I knew that I was somebody that he calls his kingdom consultant. And I meet people where they are and I help them to be birthed into their destiny. So I help them walk in their true identity. I help them walk in their God-given purpose and calling. And I help them overcome everything that's telling them they aren't who they are. And then I help bring the strategy from heaven. The Lord literally gives me strategy to help people go from wherever they are to that next season and sometimes beyond. It depends how long I work with people. And then the transformational coaching aspect comes in, and the business architect stuff comes in how we design things moving forward because God is a co-creator. He doesn't want to dictate to us. He wants to co-labor with us and co-create with us the life that we actually dream of, but we don't even know, and sometimes we're scared to dream about. That's a nutshell. There's a lot of these things in the middle of all that. And I'm still, as always, in a process because God is good. So, yeah,
All the time, all the time. Wow, that's powerful. I appreciate you being vulnerable and sharing that with us. So let me back up a half a step.
just a hat.
Yeah, well, two-part question.
Sure.
One, the marriage didn't survive.
Correct. Yeah, I prayed and contended. Turns out I was the one that was willing. Remember?
I caught that. I caught that.
Yeah, I didn't catch that then. I caught that afterwards.
Um, you use some pretty interesting dialogue to describe what you do.
Yeah.
Let's break it down into layman's terms.
Okay.
When you wake up in the morning,
Yeah.
who is it you love to work with? Who do you
God.
love to serve and why?
Okay. Okay. Because work with is God as well as the serving. So when it comes
Right.
to serve, you'll see in my bio and on my website and all that that I'll talk about C-suites, I'll talk about executives, that is, and entrepreneurs, founders. And really that's I can work with anyone. But I've designed right now my business because the Lord has to lead your steps and He directs your own strategy. So, as a strategist, you can make great impact when you're dealing with leaders. And the Lord had called me a leader of leaders. So, I aim for the leaders while I love everybody. So, I end up working with the leaders. I work with their organizations. I can work with their teams. It's whatever is needed so that they can get realigned with who they really are, what they're really called to do, because what they're called to do is being expressed through that business. And if somebody isn't an entrepreneur or founder and they're working, let's say, for another company and they're a C suite, what's beautiful about that is when they come into alignment in their true core identity and they discover their actual calling with the Lord, a lot of times they'll realize, oh, there's a couple things that can happen, by the way. They can realize, oh, I'm in the wrong spot, which that happens, right? But that explains why they're having a health crisis, why they're burning out, why or they'll realize I am in my calling. Now, what do I need to do to get into alignment so that this isn't feeling like such a burden? Because the world is challenging. The marketplace is hard. It's not easy to stay in alignment. We all want to compartmentalize things and we're told we have to, which is actually not even true, but yet we believe it. There's the mindset
Mm.
stuff. So if we really want to have meaning, we want to live a life of impact and legacy, right? For our children's children, then these are the things that need to be unpacked so that we can live the life we want, desire, and dream of. It's that simple. It's just a little complicated because we're human.
So I'm Billy Smith with XYZ Company,
Hmm.
and I'm working way too many hours, way too much responsibilities, people tugging at my shoulders, not only locally, but I've got employees across the country. I have to schedule when to go to the bathroom. Um, how does Billy find you? And when he finds you, how are you specifically going to help him?
Right. That's a great question because you've given a scenario that's simple and more toward the executive coaching side in that way. But what usually I find with the Billies of the world is they're coming solving a business problem. So they don't always know it's here, but they feel the weight and the responsibility of what they've endeavored to do, right? So 9 times out of 10, they would attend my webinar, which is a free webinar. And that's where you'll get an idea of my RISE method and all of that great stuff, which I think I gave you a bunch of information. And so my website's a place they can go for that. And then we jump on a call. And so on that call, I can actually discover if this is a right fit for them, because I am unapologetically biblical. So everything I have is biblical principled, biblical foundation. This doesn't mean I'm religious. I'm not forcing people. I don't care if they believe. It's just they have to know this is the truth that I align to. And I can help them, as long as they're willing. So, So in the end, they jump on the call with me and we see, if there's what I call the resonance of heaven, right? Where the Lord's like, yeah, you guys are great together. Let's do this thing. And then we customize that. And it starts with a strategy day. And so what I do is these strategy days, and depending if it's like an organization, like one I just did, it's like a 2-day event. I can do workshops and everything else too, but most of the time we start with a strategy day. Um, whether it's the individual person, right, that's coming, we're bringing like everything into play. So because you can't compartmentalize, right? You might be a dad at home and a husband at home, but you're still CEO or COO or whatever over here, and you still have a team over there, and you know what I'm saying? So we help bring all of that into alignment through that strategy day. God literally opens up all kinds of clarity for the person. They start to understand why they're struggling. You used an example of super busy, have to schedule time to go to the bathroom. Yeah, that's a boundaries issue, right? Because why? There's the mindset question. There's the soul set issue. Why do I feel like I'm not allowed to take a break? So that's just like a simple, quick little kind of nugget there. But a lot of us aren't realizing that the world doesn't run us, we make choices. So it's really empowering when this person begins to see that some of the problems just needed clarity and they realized they had a choice, just like I did. And then on other situations, it might be like a team issue, or maybe you have some dysfunction going on and they can't figure out what's going on, right? Because when you're in a water bottle, that's you, right? If you're a water bottle and your label's out here, you can't read it from the inside. That's why we all
Mhm.
have blind spots. And a lot of times those inner healing needs, which we all to call mindsets these days, wink, wink, nod, nod. Um, it's connected to those things because we're believing a lot of stuff that goes back a little bit. And when we finally have that like before us and we're like, oh my gosh, I can choose. That's not true. I know that's not true. Then boom, you have freedom. And it's really that powerful, that simple, but not that easy, right? So the strategy is how do I go from here to there, right? That next part.
Mm.
It's both you and your organization. And so because it's so customized, that's why it's challenging to answer these questions in a simpler way. But for each person, it depends. Sometimes I am just doing like an executive coaching level thing. Sometimes I'm coming in and working with a team. Sometimes I'm just delivering a strategic plan and they've already got these balls rolling and I can see the gaps and the things that they can't see. The Lord helps me to see that and helping them and their businesses and their organizations grow so they can do what they were called to do. And so I get a lot of that stuff. And so as a now 3-time entrepreneur, and I've got a couple more to open after this, um, I know a lot of the ins and outs of all that stuff, in business. So does
Do
that
you
answer the
prefer to work
question?
with do you prefer to work with the Billies or do you prefer to work with the teams?
That's hard. I think it's important that we start with the Billies because Billy is the leader of his team and everything flows from the head. So when it comes down to it, we have to steward leadership. And some leaders have been flung into leadership their whole life and they didn't even realize it was a gift. Some of them look at it. I literally knew somebody that was such a safe place that when he would go to the grocery store, people would just start talking to him about their problems, which I've had that happen too, right?
Oh yeah.
And this person looked at it like a curse. But the truth is God made you a safe place. But it was hard because again, business owner, giver, didn't have a lot of time to himself. He just wanted to go grocery shopping, right? In that moment. So, as a pastor, I'm sure you understand what I'm talking about.
He,
Like, I always say,
that
go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, go
I
ahead.
was going to say it reminds me of when you're on an airplane, right? And the people you sit next to, if you ask them what they do, the ones that are the most like, I don't know if I want to say it, is the psychology people and the ministry people, right? We're like, uh-oh. God just set up an appointment because they start confessing everything.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, here we go.
Yeah, it's back to your grocery store illustration.
Yeah.
It's it's not that they or we don't want to hear the story.
Correct.
It's go back to the seemingly far-fetched illustration I gave earlier. It's I gotta go to the bathroom in 90 seconds.
Yeah,
Your mind is always on what's next. And
that,
and and, and I've had to learn, and I'm not perfect at it at all. I've had to learn like if I can't give you my full attention right now,
right.
then I need to schedule this with you when I can give you more. You deserve my full attention.
Yeah,
I
and
even got into this conversation with my wife the other day, which is dangerous waters, as you might imagine.
yeah.
There was something she needed to tell me, and she was very clear in the text. I just need 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I appreciate that. That's good communication. Now I got into the conversation. I know my wife little on the detailed side. We won't go down this road too far, but
That's okay.
I think it's a good illustration.
Yeah,
Like I literally only really had 30
they're right.
and I had an appointment.
Right.
And as it's pushing 26 and 27, I'm like, honey, we're gonna have to wrap it up. And you hate to do that with anybody, especially your wife, right? But I understand the kind of person you're talking to because it is go, go, go.
Totally.
And anyway, but you're right that those kind of people want to tell their stories to them because they feel drawn to them and they feel like they're compassionate, empathetic. Let's go back to Billy for a second.
Okay.
Let's take a collective sampling of Billies that you've coached over the years. Obviously, it's Billy, Frank, Dan, Henry, whatever. But for our
Right.
conversation, they're Billies,
And
obviously.
and a decent amount of Sue, Sally, Betty, you know.
A sampling of clients, correct.
Yes.
They
Oh,
come
that's
they
a
come to
hard.
you.
Okay.
Now, this is going to be a little tough at first, but I think you'll see the benefit of it.
Okay.
I want you in just 3 words
Hmm.
to describe, and it can be three. Ideally, it would be three separate descript words to
Okay.
describe how they're feeling right before they start working with you. And I'll just give you an example.
I got one.
Skeptical.
Okay.
I'm not saying that is or isn't true. I'm just giving you a word. So give me 3 words of that sampling of clients before they start working with you. What are they
Mm.
feeling about life and about coaching?
About life, I'll start with first. Um, I would definitely say overwhelmed. Um, like giving till they don't have anything left. So depleted
Depleted?
and still feeling like they have to keep going. So it's the suck it up, buttercup. I just stuff it and go, kind of thing. I would think those are, so they're putting themselves last. A lot of the people drawn to me, why? Because I used to be like that, right? God does that. He draws people to you that give and give and give, and they might even resemble what you just went through yesterday, 2 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever it was. But God's so intentional with that. So I serve a lot of givers because I'm a giver. So the skeptics, I don't get as many of them. I get the I need help, I'm desperate. And I think I don't matter as much as my people or my family or the other guy. Right.
Well,
So they're
is it,
servant-hearted people.
but is that your third word? Is desperate one of them?
No, that's probably how they feel. What they seem like is they're looking for an answer, looking for clarity. So they know they need help. I will say that. That's where the willing comes in. They've
Aware?
real something has happened that has made them start searching. So however you term that, some occurrence has happened that help them know I don't have the answers within me. I gotta go looking for them. So I don't know what the best word for that is.
I mean, I hear aware,
Um,
prompted.
Yeah, that's why I say the word like there's desperate. There's a problem. Let's just say that. There is a specific or significant problem that they can't seem to get past. Stuck. That's the word.
There you
That's
go.
there you go. Stuck.
You've
Definitely. So we
got
said
a pro.
overwhelmed, stuck,
This is
and
why we process out loud.
this is why we're processing out loud.
So this same people, the same sampling of Billies and Betties,
Yeah.
they've worked with you for set period of time. They've
Hmm.
learned to trust you.
Yeah.
They've learned to think different. They've learned to put some practical strategies in place. At the end of their time working with you, three words to describe what they're feeling now.
Clear. Um, they feel more confident, right? Because it's not really, yes, they're changing their thinking, but it's about untangling some of that stuff, where they were believing a lie or it got, a little wonky. I call it wonky. Um, so they feel clear, they have a plan, they have a direction, right? So clear direction and hope. They feel invigorated with hope. Like, okay, I can do this. And it helps them get unstuck.
You
And they're
got
in a
it.
process that I call brilliantly unstoppable because they're learning how to shine the light that they were meant to carry very brightly. And they can overcome all things.
Oh, this is good. This is gold. So listen to this. And I don't do this exercise with people a lot. Once in a while, I feel the spirit lead to do it because
Okay.
I'm trying to give glory to God and I'm trying to
Unpack.
showcase what you do.
Thank you.
And God always does the heavy lifting, especially when it comes to hearts. No doubt about it. But he's using you powerfully as his vessel, right? Cari helps people move from overwhelmed to clarity,
Yeah. I say stuck
from
and stagnant.
depleted to confident, and
Mhm.
from stuck to hopeful, all wrapped up in a bow on top of this gift. And we'll call the bow brilliantly unstoppable.
Yeah.
How's that? Who wouldn't want Cari
Well, and I
for their
think what people
coach?
do, they say that and they're like, oh, this is great, but how? And that's the part that you have to get on the call to unpack because only you can answer where you're at and where you're stuck and what you need, you might know. But a lot of times, the Lord has this vision he's given them and or some will call it a dream in their heart, right? Or if they're a business owner or entrepreneur, they have a vision for them, their team, and unpacking why they're here and exactly the strategy to get to that picture that they have in their heart is where that strategist part is so important
Mhm.
because again, we can't always see all the pieces. God has designed it so that we need to collaborate. He's actually wants us to come together and to work together in him, you know,
That's
and
right.
like a body, you know.
Imagine that.
So, um, it's really cool to see this happen, and I love getting to help teams get functional again. People get brave to say what's been hard and work through things together in their businesses. It might be in their families, right? I don't usually do like family related stuff in that way, like a family counseling or something, but almost always marriages and relationships are impacted by the work, which is exciting.
Absolutely. So you gave me the perfect segue.
Okay.
Tell folks listening how they can jump on that clarity call and how they can learn where they can find the great work that you're doing. Learn more
Yeah.
about you.
Okay. Well, I think that to give them one place to go instead of three, and I know you're sharing my socials on there, go to my website. You will see, and it does talk about me working with women on there, but I don't just work with women, I work with all leaders. So we're in the process of revamping that. But it's www.caribordley.com. And there you can register for my next upcoming webinar, which is completely complimentary. If you want to upgrade to a VIP, you can, but that is also there. And so you'll see a register now tab right there, usually at the top of that screen. You should see it. That would be the best place for them to go. And then from there, they can book the call once they get to know me better.
Awesome. I'm glad you're working with men too, after I used all those Billy analogies.
Yeah, no, I do. And it was funny because that's always been the case. The Lord never told me to work with one, just one or the other. Obviously, I'm a woman, so a lot of women gravitate towards me, which is great. But I've had a lot of guys gravitate because I'm a safe place too for them. So yeah, no, it's men and women. So just remember that when you're on the page, though, it does say a lot of women related stuff. I was just looking at that. I was like, oh, we need to switch that.
Gotcha. And we'll
Constantly
have,
upgrading and updating things, right?
of course, and we'll have Carrie's website and her other social media links available in the show notes after. Um, Carrie, we're going to wrap it up, but before we do, I want to first thank you for sharing your obvious wisdom, but also being vulnerable, which is not always easy to do, knowing that eventually there's going to be a lot of people watching this. But I thank you for being that way because real leaders lead with vulnerability, and that's what's going to make people resonate to you, relate to you. Um, but I want to ask you before we go. Well, you've said something a couple of times that it's been subtle, but I agree with. I always say, and I believe I'm a mindset coach, so I believe mindset is huge,
It is huge. As a
but
man
it
thinks,
does.
as a man thinks, so is he.
He is, yeah,
It's a person, not just a man.
that's right, that's right.
Hmm.
But it does come. The mindset blocks and or gaps usually do come from an unhealed place. I caught that and I agree with that. And we don't have time to go. I'd love to go deeper with you off air with that sometime. But what would you say to encourage the person that might be watching this in the next, could be today, it could be in the next 30 days, the person that is stuck,
Yeah.
feels hopeless, they're functioning, they're fixing
They're
their
still a
breakfast.
leader. They look great.
They're going to work. They're doing what they have to do to pay the bills,
Mhm.
but they're not fulfilled. They feel empty. They feel stuck. They're burned out. Maybe they don't know that word yet, but that's what they're experiencing. They need an injection of encouragement and hope. In what few words would you give them today to give them a shot of hope?
First, you're not alone. I don't know if you know this, but the World Health Organization has classified burnout as a epidemic. You are not alone. And the way that you're feeling is real. And there's reasons why you're feeling that way. However, I will also say I've been where you are. And what I learned through my process is just like Steve was saying, there's things that are below the surface. A matter of fact, our perspective is in our unconscious. And that perspective is made up of your belief systems, of your life experiences, which does include trauma, and what you've been taught. And that's what makes the lens you see the entire world through. And so all of us have gone through a lot in this world. There is no shame at all because just like me, you don't know. It's in your unconscious. And the Lord wants to show it to you so that you can break through and actually live the life that He designed you to live and become brilliantly unstoppable. So I would just speak to the heart and tell you to keep going. There is hope. If you are a believer, He lives in you as hope, and we can get you reconnected with Him. We can help strategize the issues at hand and execute the vision that's in your heart and dreams. So reach out.
Great advice. Great advice, Carrie. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I'll just wrap this up by saying, Carrie, thank you for being a new friend, Thank you for being my special guest today and sharing all that you've shared. And I'll just say one last thing that aligns with what Carrie said. Here at the You Are Worthy Network, we say your story's not over yet. Some of the best chapters of your life haven't been shown to you yet. They're in front of you. That should fire us up, right? I
Yes,
know it fires me up because I know some of the
me
chapters
too.
I've been through the last couple of chapters.
Hmm.
So those coming chapters, they fire me up. And I don't usually do this, but it's perfect time for me to do this. You guys have seen me, I'm sure, promoting my event that I'm doing with Christy D's fellow coach. Worthy. You listening, if you're listening to this, if you feel stuck, you're worthy of the next step. You're worthy of a breakthrough. Come join us Monday at 4 o'clock Central. The links are all over the place. The QR codes are all over the place. You can find it anywhere in the You Are Worthy Network, or you can find it on my personal Facebook page. Join Christy and I at 4 Central. We're going to give you some practicals and inspire you that you don't have to take the next step alone. Exactly what Carrie was just saying. You don't have to do it alone. We can take the next step together. It's been great. One last thing, you are worthy of love, respect, and success because of the blood of Jesus. That changed everything. I appreciate all of you. Thank you again, Carrie. Till next time, everybody. God bless.